Thank you again, and I yield back to Chair Castor.
Thank you very much. At this time, I'm pleased to yield to the ranking Republican who's in attendance today, our good friend, Congressman Buddy Carter of Georgia. You're recognized.
Thank you, Madam Chair, for holding this hearing, and thanking all of you for being here, particularly you, Representative Bonamici. Thank you for hosting us in your beautiful district. I have to tell you that I knew the physical features of this district were beautiful, but I was pleasantly surprised by the people that I've met in this area. If I didn't know better, I'd say I was in the South. They really have been very, very nice, and we appreciate that very much. I'm also pleased to see how much Oregon and Georgia's first districts have in common, despite being almost entirely on opposite sides of the country. Both are situated on the coast of our states. Yesterday, we visited the Electric Island, where we saw innovation in electric vehicle charging. In my district, it's been announced that Hyundai will be bringing an EV and battery manufacturing facility to our district. We're very excited about that, so it was good to see what I saw here yesterday. Both of our districts also have significant ports, and that's very important as well. During our visit there yesterday, we were able to see another common point with the importance of forest and forest products. I look forward to spending more time discussing that important issue today, especially with our witness here, Ms. Bell from Westerville Ecological Services. This trip has given us the opportunity to see every part of what I describe as the three things that we need to approach climate change. That is innovation, adaptation, and mitigation. All of those are extremely important. Unfortunately, instead of pursuing productive bipartisan policies in each of these areas, we are again seeing my colleagues across the aisle attempt to do it along with a massive reconciliation spending deal. Last week, Senate Democrats announced a package that includes over $400 billion in new spending for climate and health care, while increasing the tax burden on the American people. It proposes $300 billion in taxes just as we find ourselves in a recession. These taxes will hit every American. The Joint Committee on Taxation finds that average tax rates will increase for nearly every income category in 2023 under the bill, directly violating the President's promise to not raise taxes on those earning less than $400,000. Taxes will rise by $16.7 billion in 2023 on Americans earning less than $200,000 a year. Taxpayers earning between $200,000 and $500,000 will pay $14.1 billion more. What's worse is that as Americans face the highest energy prices in my lifetime, the bill would lead to even higher energy prices. The legislation would reinstate and increase a long-lapse tax on crude and imported petroleum products to 16.4 cents per gallon. It also includes a natural gas tax that will further increase prices. Higher energy prices are simply a regressive tax on those who can afford it the least in our country. Despite its name as the Inflation Reduction Act, studies show the impact on inflation is statistically indistinguishable from zero. There isn't even any deficit reduction in the bill until 2027. The whole reason we find ourselves with increased inflation is because there is too much demand with too many dollars chasing too few products. More taxes and regulations from this bill are just more restrictions on the American economy to produce and grow. 49.7% of the tax would be borne by the manufacturing industry. The National Association of Manufacturers says the tax in 2023 alone will reduce real GDP by $68.5 billion and cut labor income by $17.1 billion. Of course, the ones who are not affected by the anti-competitive tax increases are those benefiting from the Green New Deal tax credits, picking the winners and losers of American energy. What baffles me the most is that there are parts of this bill that we can agree on. There are parts of this bill we can't agree on, but they are being forced through as part of the massive glut of partisan policies are contradicted by other parts of the bill. There's a natural gas tax, but more lease sales for drilling on federal lands. There's an agreement on permitting reform and expansion of the 45Q carbon sequestration credit, but increases the cost of fossil fuel production. Clearly, there are certain policies we can agree on that move us in the right direction, but it disappoints me that we can't move forward in a way that keeps Americans competitive and energy costs affordable for families. We cannot continue to handicap ourselves while the true problem lies abroad. Of course, the topic of today's hearing is building climate-resilient coastal communities, with a focus on the work being done here in Oregon. We've seen some fascinating things so far, and I'm eager to hear from the witnesses on some bipartisan lessons we can take from this trip, especially the role working forests have in providing climate solutions and growing our economy. Thank you, Madam Chair, and I yield back.